Hi friends, it's Victor Costa, and welcome to the Daily Lift. I hope you're having an outstanding day, and I hope today's podcast makes it even better for you. Do you ever feel like it's you against the world? Do you ever feel like the wind is always in your face, and you're this soul warrior out there, and you're really fighting against the world on a day-to-day basis? You don't get all the breaks. It feels like the cards or the deck is completely stacked against you. You don't have all of the advantages that you see other people have, and you tend to adopt this isolated sense that you are a soul warrior and always fighting from the bottom without the breaks, and the world is completely, entirely against you, and every day is a struggle to survive. And when something nice happens, you're completely shocked because that's doesn't fit into the scheme of how things typically go. So you develop this idea that there is you against the world, and you're not alone, even though you may feel that you're alone, because there are plenty of memes and quotes and things out there that will show you that you're not alone. There's tons of it. There's got to be a million, scratch that, tens of millions of people who feel like it's them individually against the world, and that the world is not rooting for them, and that the universe has something out for them, out to get them, has singled them out in some way, shape, or form, that this is going to be their lot in life, that things are always going to suck, that they're always going to encounter things like bad luck and failure and other things of that sort. And they feel like the world is not rooting for them to win, that they are this one sole person against everybody else. But I'm here to tell you that that's not true. I'm rooting for you, and you have to root for yourself. And the world is really not against you, but it's very easy to feel like it is. A lot of the things that we're struggling against, or struggling with, are not there right in front of us anymore. There are things that happened ages ago that we've picked up in our vibrational aspect that we continue to struggle with, and we feel a certain way, and we tend to attract bad things. Because when you feel that you are against the world, you develop this posture. You develop this warrior's posture, so to speak. You pick this whole idea up against you, and it's very heavy to feel like the entire world is on top of you and against you rather than behind you. Could you imagine what it feels like to feel like the world and the universe has got your back and is 100% behind you, versus feeling like the universe is 100% out to get you? Now, I want you to know something. A lot of this stuff that we feel, we pick up early on. You know, someone tells you you're stupid as a kid, and it doesn't feel right. You know you're not stupid, and that's why it doesn't feel right. But you somehow don't have the faculties and the ability to rationalize and say, I know I'm not stupid, I can deal with this, or this is just one person's opinion. Instead, you pick that up in your vibrational aspect. And even though you don't know how to overcome it, you sit with it and you struggle against it because you know you're not stupid. This is what happens to us. People say things to us, and we sort of adopt this this crusade that even after the person is long gone, this crusade continues. It's us fighting against a notion. And sometimes that notion, you can't even remember what it was, but you feel the fight still in you. It's because something didn't sit right with you, and you didn't know how to overcome it at the time, and it still somehow feels like this invisible pressure on you. I know what that feels like. But I want to tell you something, and I'm going to go back around to something that happened to me. And I think I told you guys this, that I was diagnosed with something. There was a doctor said that there was a good chance that I had cancer. It turned out to be a misdiagnosis. And I want to tell you that the day that we found out that it was a misdiagnosis, which was about 4 days after the original diagnosis, that I was completely 100% fine, when I left the doctor's office and I was walking down the street, people were looking at me and smiling at me. People were saying hello to me and waving at me on the street. Now, they don't normally do that. People don't normally wave to me or smile at me in the street unless they know me. I don't want to say New York is a cold place, but everybody has places to go, and they're busy. But this day, on this particular day, people noticed that there was something different about my vibrational aspect and what I was putting out. Happy to be alive, just happy to be walking down the street, happy to be absorbing the sunshine, happy to feel the cold wind on my face, happy to feel my feet against the ground, happy to not have to think about this anymore. And what was coming back to me was immediate. It wasn't a week later, it was instantaneous, and it made me think, what am I putting out on a day-to-day basis? How come I'm not getting these smiles and waves? And maybe that's the answer. It's what I'm putting out that's coming back. And I want you to know that the world is not against you, even though you've adopted a posture as if it is. And as soon as you can crawl out of that posture and start thinking that the world is behind you and the universe is behind you, that's when things start happening. That's when people start smiling at you. That's when people start doing things out of the blue, and that's when things start coming to you that weren't necessarily expected, but they're wonderful. When you stop fighting the battle and when you let go. So the universe is not behind you. People are not rooting for you to fail. Stuff that happened to you long ago has happened long ago. You have to start anew. You've got to refresh. You've got to Control-Alt-Delete. And you have to act like the world's got your back. It's just a shift in perspective. And I promise you, when you feel like that, suddenly the energy lifts and things start happening for you. And you won't feel so isolated, and you won't feel so alone. And one of the reasons I make these podcasts is so that you don't feel all alone. And to remind you that there's tens of millions of people who feel alone. But they're not alone because they have tens of millions of people feeling the same way. It's amazing how there could be so many of us, yet we feel so alone. And a lot of times it's because you're fighting against imaginary things. You're fighting against demons. And those demons, even though they're gone, they sit with you in your vibrational aspect. And I want you to think about that. I don't want you to think about the actual instance that somebody said some bad stuff to you. But if that helps you, and you realize that you've been carrying that around a long time, and you can overcome that because now you're a grown-up. Now you have the faculties to do that. Now you can rationalize. And I want you to know that when somebody says something to you, or they said something to you in the past and it made you feel bad, the reason it felt bad is because you knew it didn't sit right with you, and you knew it wasn't true. So a lot of times we become those things that other people have said we are. And now it's time for you to become the individual that you were meant to be. And that's why you hit Control-Alt-Delete now. And I'm here to tell you today that the universe is not against you, that you got people rooting for you, like me. People that you don't even know are rooting for you. So I hope this podcast made some sense to you. I was inspired to make it because of some of the comments that I got, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this lifted you today. This is Victor Costa signing off for the Daily Lift.